as a football player, letterman, 4 years. 4 years starting varsity. He was all conference 3 years. Won all district 2 years.
Dog.
You know, heard of the North South game? You know where like all the best players go? He played and coached in that. He's not just like, hey, I'm gonna play.
What a
I'm also gonna let you know how to play. You know what I mean? He's also in basketball. He won 2 district titles and made it to regionals. He won a district championship and a regional finals in track. And as a coach, coached Washington Courthouse, 3 league titles, 3 playoff appearances.
Dog.
Coach Paint Valley coach for 3 playoff appearances.
Dog.
As a basketball coach, he won a gold ball with Washington Courthouse girls.
Dog.
District championship. My man, my favorite coach, Corey Dye.
What a weapon.
Corey,
Easy,
how's it
easy
going,
now.
brother?
Easy.
Hold on,
That's
we're
good,
getting
man.
you here on our end.
We give you the most wonderful
Yeah,
introduction.
Corey!
Hey!
You guys are crazy, man.
Corey, how's it going, my brother?
It's going well.
Hell yeah.
I'm just hard at it, man.
So, Corey, I'm going to start off with, we had Cole Miller in as our first interviewer. I don't know if you've heard it or not, but he did win 3 state titles for Paint Valley. Actually made the team finish second completely by himself. Can you just talk about Cole a little bit? I know you got to be his football coach. Sadly, not this year from that ankle injury. Can you just speak on that a little bit?
Hands down, probably one of the greatest athletes I've ever coached. Not only phenomenal athlete, but a great person as well. And fortunately, last year he injured his ankle, as we all know. He probably talked about that in a scrimmage at Miami Trace. And unfortunately, I didn't get him coaching his senior year, but he was going to have a monster year for us. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. But he was able to fully recover, and you saw what he did.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
He did all right, I guess, in track and basketball this year. Corey, we're going to flip it to the coaching side of it, man. So it looks like you were the head coach. You were an assistant at Courthouse, right? And then you were the head coach, and then you went back to being an assistant. Just looking at this, I would not say it was from not winning, 3 league titles, 3 playoff appearances. What was that like going from an assistant to a head coach to back to an assistant? Because that seems like a lot of, I would say, not controversy.
Lateral movements.
Well, First of all, I was very fortunate to coach under a really good coach, John Enoch. When I was fresh out of college at Muskingum, being able to go home and coach in your hometown, it was really a dream of mine. And it just kind of worked out. It fell in place. There was a phys ed opening, and I majored in physical education and health, and it worked out. And I got to coach with some great guys along with Johnny Enix, and really kind of helped get my coaching career started. I started out as a positions coach and assistant, and we were pretty fortunate to coach some really good players that took us for a nice little ride. Probably heard of the guy
nice
before.
It's just 3 league titles.
Ride the wave, baby.
Hey, ride the wave. That's what the show's all about.
So casual about winning.
I'm telling you, like, honestly, you can't have the success that you have as a coach unless you got the dogs, man. And,
Dogs, man. That's what it takes.
We were pretty fortunate to have the dogs. Mark Beal, you probably heard of him.
Yeah.
He ended up playing at the University of Michigan. He was a starting center. So he had a lot of success my first year and second year. Really came alive as senior year. And we went undefeated that whole season, and then end up losing in the second round or third round to Kettering Alter, who you've heard of Nick Mangold, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We had to face that and with Kettering Alter.
Seems like
that
Was he already the size of a bus?
Oh, dude, he was amazing.
I heard he was okay.
You get to see some awesome athletes when you're a coach, and he's probably one of the greatest football players I've ever.
Hey, what's your everybody that plays football has a story of getting ran over by somebody that was awesome. Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, I this one time, no. I played some pretty good players when I was at Muskingum. There's actually 7 guys that went to NFL from the OAC when I was playing, and Jamal Robertson. He ended up playing. He had a stint in the NFL. He's one of the greatest running backs I've ever faced.
Yep.
But as far as getting run over, Bell Senior, you probably son Bell Junior plays for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers. His dad was a freak, and I had to step up and try to tackle him one time. He got me pretty good. But the greatest player that is probably London Fletcher from John Carroll.
Oh yeah, Redskins.
Yep. He won quite a few Super Bowls for the Rams. I think two for the Rams and maybe one more somewhere else. But he was a 9-time Pro Bowler.
Dude, he's a monster and so fast still. At that size, he was elite.
Huge.
He actually knocked out my teammate Josh Boyer, Josh Boyer was defense coordinator for the Dolphins last year. He got let go, but he was playing wide receiver, and we threw a slant to him, and London Fletcher knocked him out cold. And
Dude,
I've never seen a guy woken up with smelling sauce before. But that was one of the rare incidents where I saw a dude get knocked out cold, and by a heck of a football player. So, I mean, I've got a lot of cool stories. Those are the ones that really stand out to me.
I remember my junior year, I went to go make a form tackle on Des Perkins, and I was like, all right, I'm going to look like an absolute superstar because this guy is an absolute animal. And he hit me so hard, I got switched to only offense after that one. I got taken off the defensive end.
Des Perkins got me taken off of kick return.
I'm sure Des Perkins got a lot of people taken off a lot of So, Corey, coming from Courthouse, I feel like, they're a bigger division. They got a bigger school, Coming to Payne Valley, first off, I mean, it's a small-town community, man. I mean, we could be a team project. I remember when I was in 8th grade, they were projected to go 0-10, and yet every single night the stands were completely packed. Can you kind of go into what made you decide to want to come to Payne Valley and, like, what it's been like ever since you've been there?
Well, my journey and some coaches, I did have a stint at coach Courthouse, had some success there. My girls got to a point where I was missing a lot of their stuff. I didn't want to be that dad. I had to miss all their stuff, so I decided to step down and do like a lesser role so I could stay involved in their stuff and still be able to coach.
Be a good
dad. Love. Yep. And then I was coached by, you probably heard of Jerry Lucas, right?
Yeah.
Great star, Jerry Lucas at Ohio State, and NBA player. His brother, Roy Lucas, was my head football coach. And I idolized him at Washington Courthouse. And he actually passed away October of my last year as assistant for Courthouse. And when I was at the funeral, I was talking to Bev, his wife, and she asked me what I was doing. I told her that I was an assistant, and she kind of looked at me and shook her head and said, you were born to be a head coach when you were a water boy, because my brother's 6 years older than me, so I kind of tagged along with him. And Roy Lucas was the coach then. That's where I really fell in love with the game. Was being a water boy of all things, and tagging around with my brother. But anyway, she told me that I was destined to be a head coach. Kind of stoked the fire in me back in where I was like, you know what, the girls are a little bit older. I got to kind of accomplish what I wanted to, helping them and kind of help coach their sports. So I decided, you know what, if the right position opens up, then I might try to go for it. And that December, I got a phone call that the Payne Valley job opened up, and I thought, well, it's going to be a hard one to get because I know a lot of people are really going to want this job because of the tradition.
I'm sure there's a lot of candidates. I remember Shu telling me they interviewed quite a bit of people to get that job.
Right. And anyway, I was fortunate enough to get an interview, and I was going to be completely fine with that. But when I got finished with that interview, I felt really good about things, and just walking down that hallway,
Yep.
it gave me chills, man. Like just in all the great players, the athletes that have played here, you know, in all the different sports, it really sold me, man. And I was just kind of hoping and praying that I'd get the opportunity, and here we are. I got the opportunity.
Does come with a lot of pressure. I'm sure you're feeling that pressure every year. Almost every time you go to the gas station, it's like, how the boys doing this year?
So to ask,
Wait,
like,
What'd you say?
It's small town football, but man,
it's small town football, man.
So what going into this year, what are you looking at? what's the team getting ready for this time of year? What are we getting ready for?
Yeah, hey, I had good old Colton Yoakum with me the other day, and he told me to make sure that he gets 100-yard sprints at least 5 times in practice. So I wanted to make sure I relay that to you.
Sure.
But yeah, how you said.
You know, the team this year, we're pretty fortunate. We got a lot of kids back. Last year we were really young. A lot of people may not know that, but we ended up starting like 4 freshmen.
Oh, wow.
Due to injury, stuff like that. But
still made the
I
playoffs.
really feel like that. Yeah, that's right. But it really is going to pay off, I think, in the long run this year. Now we've already kind of started off, kind of with some adversity. Dom Chambers, you guys know, the monster running back for us, senior. He tore his ACL. He was at
hey, moment of silence. Moment of silence.
Recruited, and just recently had surgery. So it's one of those things that as a head coach, your kids get hurt, but to see a senior not get to play a senior, the result of it, it hurts even more. But we have 40 kids back from last year, believe it or not.
Oh wow!
And our numbers are crazy. We have over 55 kids out. So it's one of those things that I've always
NFL would make you cut 2 of them.
I don't know about that, but no, our numbers are great. Our kids are working super hard, and I'm really, really proud of our kids. And I think we have some pretty dynamic athletes. Braylon Robertson had a monster year last year for us. He had over 1,400 yards.
Carson Free, man, he was mossing people left and right out there.
Yes. Carson Free ended up being a school record holder at 2 records, 1 receptions, and then had over 1,100 yards.
Hey,
so,
I think you said you needed some dogs. That sounds like one to me, my friend. Good God. But that means,
and then we got some other kids too. We got some offensive linemen. Peyton Bell, he's an absolute monster, being recruited by some pretty big schools.
I'm a big fan of pancakes.
Yeah, he leading the pancakes. But anyway, I'm really excited about this group. Really, really proud of their effort up to this point, and it's been a really awesome. You know, we've been going at it 4 days. Originally, I had planned for 3. Kids begged me for more, so we're going 4 days. So hopefully we can.
Now, it sounds like you found success in the passing game, which is wild because the SVC historically has been known for, I'm just going to run it down your throat, old school football, bam, bam, bam. And it seems to me, at least, that you guys have found a great deal of, we're still going to play some smash mouth football, but if you're not covering number 4, he's going to take it to the house for you 9 times out of 10. When did you guys – because didn't Carson play quarterback in junior high? When did you realize he was the next Randy Moss?
Well, it's one of those things where we needed to find a place for Carson because he was too good of an athlete not to play. And wide receiver thought was going to be the greatest place for him because we had Calvin Cooper back as our quarterback, and he was going in fourth year starter. So we put him there, and he kind of figured it out.
Yeah,
and
I would say so.
now he wants to play.
That's awesome. Where
Yeah.
did Calvin end up going to Muskingum? Is that what I saw?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never seen someone hit a hole as hard and as fast. I remember I was covering a game for Sosa, and I think you guys were on like your own 15 or 20-yard line, and it looked like you either called a draw or you called a pass, and Calvin called a draw for himself, and he ran it about 15 yards to the house and got there in maybe 10 seconds. I mean, I mean it was.
Yeah.
Can you talk about having just athletes like that? I mean.
That's actually one of my questions that I wanted is what is it like coaching some of these people, and do you think even like being a father makes it easier to be a coach? Obviously dealing with kids and young adults and stuff like that, coming back after and being an assistant manager and being a weathered father. Do you think that helped you? And then when you get these star athletes like Cole, like how do you even deal with stuff like that?
Well, like I said, man, you ride the train. You sit back and you figure out ways to get the ball and just watch them do their thing. And I've been so blessed here at Penn Valley since I've been here with incredible kids. Having in one of them, and like I trusted Calvin. Calvin was almost like having a coach out there on the field.
Yeah.
We gave him a lot of responsibility. And he did really well and had an awesome career. He's also a record holder in most points scored at Pay Valley history, which
you're just
that
holding
says a
records
lot.
in your pockets left and right.
Yeah.
What
So
records are we breaking this year?
well, we were in all honesty, we were 100 yards shy of in the all-time yards, like purpose yards.
Oh wow!
So we were 100 yards having that. But
That's insane.
our offense is explosive. We have that ability to run the football. We have that ability to pass. But to answer your second part of that question, I think you said something about me being a father and whether or not that
I'm a new
that
dad,
helps.
by the way, or semi-new dad.
Right.
That's why I bring it up. Hey,
Tony's
Congratulations.
born.
Yeah. Congrats, man.
thanks.
Well, being a father is probably one of the hardest things that you'll do, and it's one of the most gratifying things to do. When you have to coach your own daughters, it can be somewhat tricky at times because it's hard for your kids to separate the dad and the coach, and it's sometimes hard as a dad. And I've found myself where I've screwed up sometimes too, where I've got to stop being the coach and remember to be the dad when we get home.
Daughters as well, right? In basketball as the assistant.
I do, and my daughter Kendall, she just graduated. She go play basketball at Muskingum, and I've coached little, and it was a struggle at first. It really was. I'm not gonna lie, for them to separate that, but over time, she started understanding that I was really truly there as a coach when we were at practice or in the game, and I was trying to be more like the dad when we got home. But I'm not gonna lie, man, it's hard.
It's hard, yeah.
There's so much you want to
you're not
say
done
after
being
the
a
game.
coach. It's hard to just. Like I said, I haven't coached
Yeah.
at any major levels. I've just done some JV and some junior high.
Yeah.
But I remember as the JV coach trying to turn off. I mean, losing to then go sit on a bench and root on for the varsity. It's hard to flip that switch.
I mean, it's physical therapy is my job, and I look at my son when he walks, and I want to fix his gait pattern.
Yeah.
He's not shut that stuff off. Like,
I also want to talk about is what's the biggest difference when it comes to like coaching boys as opposed to coaching like girls and stuff like that? Is there is there stuff you have to switch up?
Yeah.
When,
Dude, yeah, there's a big difference. The one thing I noticed with girls, I coach my youngest daughter too, Karis. Karis she's a lot more natural athlete, and she doesn't have to work as hard as Kendall did. But like, there's a lot of struggles with that too, because you want her to have the same drive as your oldest daughter.
absolutely.
But she really doesn't want to. Like that, I don't really want to put in that work or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So
it's hard when she's still going out there and
Yeah,
succeeding.
still being a
It's like,
dog,
why do I
you
put
You got
it in?
that dog.
it really is. But she's a great athlete, and she's still trying to figure it out. And we butted heads a little bit, but it's been great. Being out, and it's such a joy. Like able to watch and help your kids kind of accomplish,
yeah.
their goals and stuff.
I just got mine to be able to hold the bat correctly. He was holding it upside down for about a year, so we're working on it. We're getting there.
And then another question I had for you is, when did you know that you wanted to actually be a coach? Because I know you kind of, as soon as you got out of college, you went right into being an assistant. So I was kind of wondering, like, did you have that realization, maybe when you were younger, or did you kind of realize it as you were realizing, like, hey, this is going to be kind of the end of my playing career. I kind of want to keep with sports, or like, how did that go?
What I'm telling you, the role that coaches have in kids' lives is extremely important. And I was pretty fortunate at Washington Courthouse to have the greatest coaching staff like ever. And when I say staff, what I mean is I played multiple sports. So I had Roy Lucas, who I've already talked about, and I had an absolute legend of basketball coach, Gary Schaefer. He's in the Hall of Fame with over 700 wins. And it's probably the greatest basketball mind and one of the greatest coaches I've ever had, and really taught me a lot about coaching, and I didn't even know it at the time. And one of the things he always would push on us, just the definition of success, a lot of John Wooden stuff, which time as a kid we didn't appreciate. But now looking back as a coach and a former player, that was great stuff, man. And it really helped kind of mold us. I grew up with Travis Robertson, which you probably know who
he is maybe one of the most intense people I've ever been around in my entire life.
Yeah.
And you are not intense.
Just a little bit.
He was the assistant this year for basketball, man, and he would be talking down in the locker room, and I'm like, I'm ready to go to war. Like, screw this basketball game.
Well, honestly, that's exactly how he was as a player. It's an honor to get to play with a guy like that.
He just went to the Final Four as Waverly's coach, right? He was Waverly's coach to the Final Four? Yeah. So, you've only been around a few successful people like that.
Right. But Travis, honestly, is one of my best friends. And to even tell you, too, like, to have been coached by a legend like Gary Schaefer, it was just such an honor and a blessing. I mean, I watch a lot of coaches, athletes, like when I'm on the opposing side, and I myself, man, there's probably no way Coach Schaefer stays honest. And B, like, how lucky I was to have a like Gary Schaefer as a coach, So
it seems like,
to answer your question,
because what Travis kind of said a whole bunch was, you gotta want to win for your team. He's like, you can have you want to have your own individual accolades. Like, you want to try and be 1,000-point scorer. You want to try and do this and that, but you also want to make sure that's implemented with the team as well. Because as the team goes, 9 times out of 10, you go. Was that something that he kind of like you? Because it seems like you have the same mindset. Is that something that he implemented into you guys?
Yeah, you had to understand what your goal was.
Yeah,
you really did. And if you didn't know the role, you got used to the bench.
Oh, trust me, Shu. As you know, Shu. I was on when I was a senior. My starting 5 was Dylan Swingle, #1 point scorer in the county, with 3 other 1,000-point scorers. So I kind of took a seat back and said, why the hell am I shooting? You know what I mean? And Shu pulled me in his office to make sure I knew that. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what he preaches. Like, you can be a star in your own role. Like, whenever I would check in, like, people would still get pumped because they knew I was going in there, play some defense, do all the little dirty things. So that way Mason and Clay and Anthony and Dylan could just put the ball in the hole. So I can attest to that as well. You got to know the role. Everybody on the team has to know the role. Because if you're a scrub on offense but think you need to be the #1 scorer, that's going to start causing some conflicts between the team. How do you, as a coach, though, like, make sure the kids understand the role in accepting it? Because I know that can't be an easy thing to do sometimes, especially when it's a role that they don't think that they are good at.
How do you even trust them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You talk.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what's funny. Like my sophomore year, I wasn't starting, and I felt like I should be starting.
Right.
And so I kind of had a really bad attitude in practice one day, and Coach Jason kicked me out of practice.
Oh, wow.
And so I literally, I tell this story, but I walked home in 6 inches of snow. He kicked me out of the school, like said, go home. And I was like, well, I got to call my parents. Said, no, you're walking home. I'm like, okay. That's how old school he was. He
I
played
love
at West Virginia. So anyway, so I walked home. As soon as I get in the door, my mom looked at me and said, what are you doing home? You have practice. And I told her I got kicked out. And she said, oh, no. Get in the car.
Mama
She
law.
took my butt back kind of by my ear and was like, look, this is how I raised you. Like you're doing coach that now have to talk. So we sat down, we had a talk, and coach asked me what my problem was, and I told him. I said, well, I feel like I'm better than the guy. And he said, well, what do you think your role is? And I told him, I said, I think I'm a defensive player. I said, I think I'm the best defensive guy you got. I'll go in and get rebounds. I'll take charge. I said, I don't have to shoot one shot. He said, okay, sounds like you know your role then.
Yeah.
And so from then on, I started. And so to answer your question, like about like how do you get kids to do it? I think you got to be dead honest with them.
I agree 100%.
I agree.
I think the kids can definitely like sniff out whenever you're just feeding them shit. You know what I mean? Whenever you're just telling them stuff just to make them feel good or just beating around the bush. Like I think they respect you a lot more if you just
especially
direct
as a leader. They
That's
respect
right.
you more as a leader if you're forward, straight up, and honest with
I
them.
agree.
I mean, I really
Yep.
appreciate how much trust you put in your quarterback. You know, you said it was really nice having
Yes.
him and you were really close with him, but
Yeah.
some coaches that I've been around wouldn't even, I don't care if they called me their, other son, they still wouldn't give me the trust on the field to make any decisions just because that's kind of how power hungry they were. So I think it's huge to have a coach like you where you can kind of put some of that trust in other kids, and I think it does a lot for the kids around them too. It says a
It
lot
does.
about you as a coach.
You got to give them the keys to the caddy, man. And,
Beep, beep. Cruising
You
down
got-
the street in their 6'4".
gotta put it in their position. Yep.
So, Corey, I know you are big friends with a guy over at AP Prep. I've seen you guys on Facebook, kind of going there, having some team workouts, and just getting ready for the season. Can you harp on that relationship and what he's done and meant to you guys as a program?
Absolutely. When I first got this job, the one thing I wanted to do was kind of form a strength conditioning program.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to. If you want
Oh, yeah.
an elite team, you have to have your kids strong and fast and develop them. And so I'm good friends with Paul from Jackson. So I contacted him and I asked obviously they were doing something right. Their teams year in and year out are good.
It's like going to high school Texas football and over there, man. Like it's just
That's right.
buzzsaw.
So I'm not dumb. So I contacted one of the best coaches in the state, and I really believe that. I believe Paul is. And so I contacted him. I said, "What? Our strength conditioning program one of them." And he introduced me to Jason. And I watched them go through this workout, and I said, "That's exactly what I want to do." And I've developed a great relationship. We have tons of kids that go there and train. And the thing I love most about the kids are kicking and they go in there because they're scared to death.
Yeah.
But once they get through that, and they start training and they start wanting it because they start seeing develop results.
Yeah.
And those results kind of turn into good habits, and then their confidence gets boosted.
I feel like it brings the team together too.
Have a great athlete.
Because when I was first joined the Navy, I remember we first got into our barracks and the petty officers came in. They started screaming at us. they're like making us do push-ups, all this intense workout, and I went from a room full of 64 strangers to after going through that, we all became brothers. So I can only imagine as a football team where you're already friends. You walk into that and you're like, yeah, Corey is definitely trying to kill us today.
Pressure makes diamonds, baby.
Yeah,
Pressure makes diamonds.
Going through that, I'm sure that has to help bond them together as a team. It seems like they're all like a good group of kids. It seems like they're all real good friends and stuff like that. So I'm sure that helps correlate down to the field as well.
They carry that stuff on too. Like when
No
you
doubt.
learn how to work out well, like you bring that with you. You see guys in Planet Fitness trying to squat now that they're over 20 years old and don't know how to do it. It's awful, especially looking at it from my point of view.
It's also a great way to promote competing against each other to try to better yourselves when it comes especially how we used to do it at Vinton County. We would always have the everybody's top weight on a whiteboard, and then kind of have whoever was the best in each one would be who everybody was trying to be.
So what I've noticed is it sounds like you're trying to build more of you came in and you're like, I want to build a culture here, and I think that sounds absolutely great.
Yeah.
Well,
Did that
didn't
come from
have to.
Courthouse, or where'd you come from, or where'd you get that from?
So the culture is already set here, and the one thing that I didn't want to do is take that away. I just wanted to build on it.
Nice.
Because
That's
Paint
awesome.
Valley's best really is. I
Valley
wasn't going to come in
football
and
is-
try to
is
change.
religion, pretty much, as I'm sure you can attest
Yeah.
to.
Absolutely.
Well, Corey,
But-
man, I'm excited to see what the season brings. Hopefully, we can have a little bit more of you on the show during the season so we can talk to you. But, man, as a first shot, I told this to Cole. I couldn't think of 3 better guests. Cole, you, man, I appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know it's a Sunday. I know you got probably better things to do to talk to 4 idiots on the but, hey, man, we wish you the best this season. Hopefully this is the last time we talk to you. And you good luck out there.
Yeah, hopefully.
Dude, thank you for
Yeah.
everything.
Thanks,
Seriously,
guys.
good luck to you.
Corey
Coach.
and I, everybody.
Hey,
Yeah.
what a dog.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. See you, Corey.